Hello and welcome to today's episode on Conversations with Coach IT. I trust that you'll have an enlightening and fun time with today's guest. Relax and enjoy. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Conversations with Coach IT. Today, we have a very, very special guest, a very special one, if I do say so myself. And she wears many hats, she wears many caps, and she's many things to many people, but she's many things to me in particular. I am going to be giving her the opportunity to do, a bit of introduction of what she does, and then you'll get to hear that best from her to just share with you many of, multidimensional flows today. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Mrs. Ayodeji Michael-Oni. We popularly call her Mtish. Thank you so much, Mtish, for joining us today. I am so happy to have you here on board with us to discuss the issue of self-esteem, you and your esteem. And who else to have this conversation with, if not Mtish herself, the queen of self-esteem. Thank you so very much for joining us, Mtish. I will just, open the floor now and let you do a bit of introduction about yourself. Yeah, before.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me, iTunes. Yeah, amazing personality yourself. Okay, I'm Mtish, like she rightly introduced. Yeah, I wear many hats, and today I'll be doing the part of speaking. I'm an author, I'm a therapist, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach and mentor to many in the aspect of love, relationship, and self-esteem. I'm a gospel minister too. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
In a brief. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I know that you had to compress that introduction, because if you had to go on about everything, but thank you so much, Mtish. So let's dive right into today's topic, you and your esteem, the issue of self-esteem. Mtish, please talk to me. Why is self-esteem such an important topic? Why should people, especially young people, why should they pay attention to their self-esteem? We hear people go around with buzzword, oh, your self-esteem, this about your self-esteem, you don't have, you don't have the right self-esteem. And all. Why is the topic such an important one? What is it about it?
Okay, so for a long time, a lot of people, we didn't pay much attention to our self-esteem. We just say it as an English word. But over time, our eyes began to open to the importance of self-esteem. Now, most especially to the younger generation, what you are campaigning for. Self-esteem is very important. It's the basis, it's the foundation. It's the fundamental factor that builds us into whoever we become. So whatever disposition we have to life, it is formed by our self-esteem. Whichever category it falls, whichever expression, it is because of the self-esteem, the part of self-esteem, our self-esteem plays in our life. So it's the basis, it's the reason why we act the way we do.
Wow.
It's the basis why, it's the reason why we act the way we do. It's the reason why a young person could be timid. Is the reason why somebody could be so, hurtful. Is the reason why somebody could be abusive. Is the reason why somebody could be gluttonous. Is the reason for a lot of things that we do that we don't even know why we do them.
Thank you for that, Mtish. So I hear you say that our self-esteem is the reason for many things that we do, right? And I know that people express themselves in different ways. People are in different ways, right? So as you've mentioned that it's the reason why some people are timid. We also see people who are, bold and full of life and taking strides and doing so many great things, right? So are there different ways in which a person's self-esteem can play out? And are there usually foundational causes or reasons why, there are these different variations? People develop any of the variations of self-esteem?
All right, so there are basically three expressions of the self-esteem. And I categorize them into the low, the balanced, and the high. Now, most times people with a high self-esteem think that they are doing well. but it's not very true. As a matter of fact, if you have a very high self-esteem, it's tantamount to pride.
Oh, wow.
I made an illustration in my book, and I said, when you say something is high, in a layman term, if you say something is high, then that thing is abnormal. If you have a high temperature, it's abnormal. If the current is high, when you say the current is too high, it's abnormal. So high things that are very high are actually related to anomaly. So that's why I was able to relate a high self-esteem, if not checked, to pride. But there's a place of a balanced self-esteem. That's the expression where you can say that you are healthy. Your self-esteem is healthy, where you are bold, you're confident, and you're not tamping on anybody's personality. You're not stepping on anybody's toes. You're not making anybody feel low, of themselves. You're not demeaning anybody's personality while you are expressing your full personality in the full capacity. You understand? And the very low one is where you are just so timid, you lack expression, you feel you're not good enough, you cannot express yourself, you have things inside of you cannot project because of fear of not being good enough, the fear of not being accepted. That's the parts where you have a low, the variation of being low comes to play. But you can have a healthy self-esteem where you're not affecting anybody's life. Nobody's affecting your whole life. You're doing you, you're running your race, you're not comparing yourself with anybody, even though you can do what I call a constructive comparison. Yes, you can do a constructive comparison where you can put yourself side by side with somebody and say, okay, I'm not doing bad. But even if you put yourself side by side with somebody and you still look at yourself, well, I might not be here, but I'm not also doing bad. So they are very healthy comparison, they are constructive comparison. But whatever level you are, as long as you're doing well, and you can look into your own eyes and tell yourself, I'm not doing as much as you are doing, and at the same time, you're not beating yourself, then that point you can say that you have a healthy self-esteem.
Oh, wow. You said a lot, Mtish. And if I hear you clearly, you said two things that, I really want to base a little bit more on. So you mentioned the part of if you're not trampling on other people's, esteem, and you're not pulling other people down. And I just want to quickly relate it to, self-esteem in places like a workplace or a school for some of the young people that are listening to us today, where, in the place of being given feedback, right? Some people could feel, oh, that was a harsh way of talking to me. That person spoke down on me. And then, we easily relate it to, oh, the person is a proud person, the person talks to people anyhow, and all of those things because of the way that you were spoken to, or because of the way you feel like you've been addressed. So how do we draw that thin line between not trampling down on people, so to say, right, and the place of giving critical feedback, constructive criticism? How do we balance that?
All right, so you need to be able to decipher what you are doing and why you're doing what you're doing. Now, I keep saying that why you do the things you do is far more important than what you do. So you need to check your motive. You need to be sure that the reason why you're talking, the reason why you're acting is not with the intention of bringing anyone down. Once your intention is clear, come on. It doesn't matter what anyone feels, but be sure, I repeat, be sure that, yes, that your motives are right. Be sure you're not doing anything with the intention of bringing anyone down. You're not doing anything with the intention of trampling on people's emotions or personality. Be sure you're not doing anything to show off or to display, your perfection or whatever. As long as your motives are right, it doesn't matter. People will always get different definition of what you're doing because of their own disposition, their own esteem gauge, the level they are in their own self-esteem. They would always read meanings to whatever you're doing. But as long as you know that your motives are right, you know that you're not doing whatever with the intention of making anybody feel bad, making anybody feel worse, or making anybody feel low of themselves, keep doing you. Keep doing you.
Keep doing you. Very important. Keep doing you. Be You, be you. Thank you so much, Mtish. A quick question, and I mean, this is just born out of, it's not as though I don't know some of the background story, but it would be good to share with our audience again. What's this passion about self-esteem? Why are you so passionate? So I said that I know that you've written a book. And guys, if you've not read that book, You and Your Esteem by Ayodeji Michael-Oni, it's one book that you want to grab and you want to, consume. Yeah, that's the word. And consume. You really want to feast on that book, You and Your Esteem. You can get it in bookshops and online. Just really go for that book. So Mtish, what is this passion about self-esteem, people's self-esteem? And can you show us the book? I mean, for people that will be watching the video, can we see the book and just see what it looks like? You and Your Esteem. Thank you. Yes, I can see it at the bottom. Yeah, that's the book. That's the book, Yeah and Your Esteem. And this is one of the many expressions of your passion, the passion you carry to see people develop the right esteem. What is that passion about? What was it born out of?
All right. So what spurred my passion for the topic self-esteem? It was born out of, I've been a counselor. I've been counseling all my life. And I started out as a counselor of love and relationship. I was newly married, and a lot of people just naturally tilt towards me. Even before I got married, people would come to me, married folks, they would table their marital issues, and sometimes I'm lost, but I always have something to say. I always have something to say. God has just blessed me with wisdom, right from when I was very young. And so growing up, I and their issues. Now there was this very profound one, a particular lady, I think I wrote that in my book. A particular lady that came to me with the issue of physical issue. She felt she was on the big side, she was overweight, and married men were just, they were the ones always coming around for a hand in relationships. And while she was relating her story to me, she mentioned that, it's because you've not seen me. There was an issue that happened. She was going to take back the guy that she caught, in the act with her sister.
Wow.
Yeah. She caught the guy right in the act with her own elder sister. And she mentioned that she wants to give the guy a second chance. And I'm like, what? You want to give a guy that didn't just cheat on you? It's another thing to cheat. It's a thing, an old thing to cheat with your own blood sister. What? So why would you even want to consider such a, you wouldn't even want to consider a man that cheated on you.
Not to talk of one.
Not to talk of considering a man that you caught with your sister. It wasn't an allegation. It was something you caught them. You saw them with your red, naked eyes. And when she told me that, I just knew that there was an issue. There was something beyond what the eyes could see. So I engaged at the mall. And I remember she mentioned, it's because you've not seen me. It's because you've not seen me. I've always been attracted to married men. And now that a single guy is coming for me, I just want to take it that he made a mistake and work it out together. So I knew there was something wrong. I dug further. I engaged her. I invited her over. She wasn't even in Lagos at that time. She came down from the state that she was, and we got talking. And, I was able to decipher, and I was able to discover that she was having issues with self-esteem. And that was where the interest sparked. That was where my interest for, because I'd counseled a lot of ladies with similar issues. But this lady's own opened my eyes to the reason why they do the things they do. Because it's been a scenario of cutting the branches. And somehow they still go back into the mess. They still go back into, the dirt and the things that I counsel them from doing. So it breaks my heart that what's the issue? But from this lady, I was able to, go to the roots. And so since then, it has helped my counsel. It has helped the way I relate with people. Now I'm less judgmental. I used to be very judgmental. I'm less judgmental because now I know that the reason why people act the way they do is more important than what they do.
Wow.
Now my own level of judging was also as a result of self-esteem. An esteem issue, because when you judge people, it means that you are focusing more on yourself and less on people, and you're becoming self-centered, and self-centeredness is a sign of low self-esteem. Do you understand? It's just that this esteem we're talking about is in levels. And that's why in my book I have the self-esteem gauge, where you can gauge yourself and know where exactly you fall. It is not a perfect journey. Everyone is not perfect when it comes to self-esteem. We are all work in progress. And that's why I say that self-esteem is a journey. It's not a destination. We are all work in progress, including the self-esteem coach herself.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Thank you
because
so
life
much.
would always happen. Things would always happen that would make you want to fall back. Yes, but you just have to keep reminding yourself, keep talking to yourself, and ensure that you are balanced.
To what you said, Mtish, the passion, I feel the passion again, because I've been a recipient many times. Thank you so much. And you see, some of the things you said ties back, especially when you said that many times what people is not usually just about what people do, but the reason behind it, right? The foundational issues, which ties back to what you said earlier, to say that, your self-esteem determines why you do some of the things you do and some of the things you do the way that you are. And that is just so profound. Before we go ahead, Mtish, I want to ask you a quick question. So talk to us, Mtish. What was your, our audience comprises of teenagers and young adults, right? Young people, basically. So I want us to take a quick trip back to when, I know you're young mom yourself, you're young in the spirit, right? But I want us to take a quick
I'm young at heart. I'm young in age. I'm young.
All right. And okay. But I want us to take a trip back to when you were a teenager and when you got into young adulthood, that phase of your life. What was it like for you? What was it in terms of self-esteem and growing up and just generally things happening around you and within you? What was it like for you?
All right. So all my life, I'd always thought I had a bad self-esteem. In fact, when I started talking about self-esteem, when I started out early, I used to say that I've never had an issue with my self-esteem. But that was not true, because I had to sit down one day and I'm like, now how am I able to teach this thing if I've never experienced it? I remember the Lecprecious boss asking me that, how come you know so much about self-esteem and you're telling us you've never had issues with your self-esteem? I'm like, well, maybe because of my experiences with people that I've canceled over the years. And, I went to speak somewhere, I think, was it with some people from Heritage Bank. And I remember the finance director saying that, madam, you know this topic so well. And you're telling us you've never, this is, I'd launched out into speaking on self-esteem. And I'd not even discovered myself that I had suffered from low self-esteem. So when I got back home that day, my husband said, this thing people are saying is true. You seem to know so much about this thing. It can't just come from the place of reading alone. It can't come from the place of your counsel, with people alone. You must have experienced it at some time that you don't even know. So I sat down and I did a memory exercise and I discovered that truly I had suffered low self-esteem.
Wow.
In fact, it was a serious one.
Wow.
Very serious one. And it came from, the background that I had. The background that was so critical, religious wise. And that formed the basis of my being judgmental. That formed my basis of being judgmental and self-righteous, so to say, because where I was coming from, there was this form you had to take, there was this outlook you had to have to be termed spiritual, and religiously acceptable. You understand? So yes, I suffered low self-esteem while I was growing up, because I always see myself as, okay, I can't relate with this set of people. These ones are not holy. These ones are not they're not spiritually acceptable. I'm the only one. This form that I carry is the one that is acceptable. I'm the only one that Jesus loves, Jesus can accept. And so I was always comparing myself with people. I was always comparing myself with people. If I see you, I just look at you, I size you up, and I just condemn you. I condemn people a lot. I remembered growing up, I don't even sit with some set of people in the bus. It was that serious.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't make up like this and I'll sit with you, because I believe when the trumpet sound, you will not allow me to hear the sound of the trumpet.
Wow.
It was that serious. You know, so that was growing up for me. I was judgmental. I compare myself a lot. I always look down on people. I look down on myself also, but I use that spirituality as a coping mechanism. Yes, I use that as a coping mechanism to cover up what I was feeling, you know, because of the religious background that I had.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Mtish. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that many people can relate with, you know, what you just said. And it's such a deep one. It also speaks to, you know, the place of awareness and doing a self-audit and telling yourself the truth. You didn't think of the fact that, oh, I'm well knowledgeable in this area and I've worked with people and I'll just bank on that. You sat with yourself and, like you said, you did a memory exercise, like a self-scan, and, you know, brought out the truth of where you were at. And today we see the result of the great work that you've done, even with yourself. So I'd like to ask, for young people, right, how can they develop their self-esteem? How did you do it for you? How did you develop the right self-esteem? And how can young people also do the same?
Okay. How I developed my self-esteem, and how I would advise people to develop their self-esteem is to, just like I said, do an introspection, a deep one, you know, do the constructive comparison, where you look at somebody that you can seemingly say this person is doing well with his or esteem. And you look at that person, what is this person doing? And what am I doing? What is this person doing right? That if I do right also, I'll be able to get it right. Not the destructive or the critical kind of comparison where you look at the person and you look down on yourself. No, that's not what you're doing here. What you're expected to do here is to place yourself side by side and look at what the person is doing right that you are yet to do right. For example, somebody is doing well and you look at the person, you feel you can do same, you can do likewise. But in yourself, you're the type that would probably look at somebody and you just, you know, for example, you're probably judgmental, you're probably worrying. You're like, when will I ever get there? When will I ever be able to do this thing this person is doing? When will I ever, you know, get there, you know, to achieve the same stride the person is achieving? That's not the constructive kind of comparison. You know, the comparison where you can look at yourself, look at the person and say, okay, if I start taking this step, I might not be where this person is immediately, but over time, if I consistently do this, I will get there, because I see a replica of myself in that person. And you're also able to understand time and chance. I have a lot of people that I look up to. I'm not necessarily comparing myself destructively, because I'm not looking at them and I want to jump to where they are. That is just going to happen by magic. But I understand the place of time and chance, and I understand the place of seasons, you know, that they didn't get to that place they are over the night. They did put in a lot of work. They understood time and chance also, and they were consistently doing what they are doing. So I know that if I consistently do the same thing that I'm doing, I will get there and even surpass them. Okay, so that's how to build your self-esteem. You're not in haste. You're not looking down on yourself. You're not looking at people that are not yet up to you and say, oh, they cannot get to me, or you trample on them. You know, so when you're able to do all of these things, you keep talking to yourself, you do what I call self-critical talk, where you keep talking to yourself, you look at the image you see in the mirror and you tell yourself, hey, babe, you're not doing bad. You might not be where you want to be, but you are not where you used to be. When I look at people that are doing better off, I tell myself, hey, Ayodeji, you're an author, you're a therapist. Even though you have not done therapy for the whole world, you have done therapy for about 22 people. You're not doing bad. Yes. Within and outside Nigeria, you're not. So I remind myself of the things that I've achieved. And I tell myself, you're not outrightly doing bad. In fact, you're not doing bad at all. Now, that's not being complacent. That's not settling. That's just the act of gratitude. Because gratitude also boosts your self-esteem. You're not complacent. Yes, you're not complacent. You're not settling, but you're grateful for the things that you have achieved. It keeps you in check. It helps your self-esteem. And, you know, you will always strive and aspire to be better.
Thank you so much, Mtish. Thank you. That was so profound. And so I'd like to ask for parents, your mom yourself. So how do you help your children develop the right esteem? I know that you have 3 giants. We like to call them giants. How do you help them develop the right self-esteem?
Okay, so as a mother, and with what I do, I have discovered that parenting is harder than we think it is. Very great level of intentionality. You know, with what I do, I'm able to do what I call a balance. I'm able to strike a balance between where my parents missed it and where I want to get it right.
Wow.
You know, what I do has opened my eyes more to how to go about an intentional parenting.
Wow.
Not just doing parenting as it comes. Yes. So with my children, I try as much as possible. You know, I was unable to talk about the 3 expressions and the causes, you know, of the variations of self-esteem that we have.
We can quickly touch on that.
I'll briefly mention. Should I go ahead with that now?
Okay, so let's just wrap up, you know, how you help your children with self-esteem, and then we quickly take that.
Then we will come back to that. Okay, so with my children, the reason why I want to touch on that is because those things are going to surface here.
Oh, okay.
You know? Yes. The reasons, the way we go about parenting, we need to ensure. Personally, I ensure that I don't do favoritism. I don't place one child over another. You know, I don't exalt the strength of one over the other, because I understand that they are different. They are genetically different. I'm a biologist also. So I understand that their genes are different, their hormones are different, their makeup is different. So I try as much as possible not to compare A with B or B with C.
Wow.
I also try not to yell at them, because, you know, yelling kills children's self-esteem. When you yell at them, you kill their expression. You make them have that feeling of not good enough. I also try not to express whatever they do. You know, maybe I was impressed now. I will not express this person's own over the other. I'll tell you, you did well. Your sister can also do well if she has the same opportunity that you have. So that's not comparing them. So these are the things that I do deliberately with more understanding now. You know, I have that knowledge, I have the illumination, so I do it with every sense. Sometimes I'm tempted to want to shout. It's normal. These children can stress your life out sometimes. But, you know, even if I have to at all, I devise the means. I told my children, my first daughter especially, she's older. I told her, when you see that mommy is, you know, yelling and is getting out of control, you don't like it. It's affecting your self-esteem. I'm already building self-esteem into her, you know. They just tell me, mommy, keep it down, keep it down.
Wow.
And she goes, mommy, keep it down. You're shouting. Hey, in our days, you dare not. But you know,
Wow.
it's part of the it's part of the intentional parenting that we're doing. We're not teaching them to be rude. No, 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 no. My children are not rude. Not teaching them to to talk to me anyhow. No, but I'm teaching them how to express themselves. I'm teaching them how to be free. I'm teaching them that I love them so much. I wouldn't want to do anything to hurt them. I don't want to bring down their esteem. So all of these things are part of the intentional parenting that we are doing now to ensure that our children have a balance of esteem.
Mtish, what you said now was so good. It's also the place of choosing to have an expressive child over a timid child. So you rather teach them to, be able to speak up and express themselves, express the way they feel, right? Which I know is one of the things that eats into people's esteem when they are not able to express themselves and they just bottle up things because they do not have a right way of expressing or because they do not know what the other person's
I think I need to mention this. This is the part where I've been trying to cover, and I think I need to come out with it, because it's not something that happened. But I decided to cover it because I wanted to ensure that my daughter was not affected. And now that I've seen and I've concluded that she wasn't affected, I need to come out with it so that I can help other parents. Now, there was a time my child was going to be abused.
Wow.
Yeah, when she was 2 years. But because I'd taught her to express herself, she showed signs.
Wow.
Showed signs. It would have been more serious, even though I was really pained, but it would have been more serious if I'd not taught her to express herself. The act would have happened.
Wow.
The perpetrator was still trying. Yes, he was trying to, do those funny things to abuse the girl. But she would always come to me and say, "Mommy, my bum. Mommy, my bum." And I, at first I felt it was the toilets. So I decided to clean up the toilets the more and all of that. But she kept complaining, "My bum." Like, my husband said, "Checked and you see that it's not a never. Never." But because of her expressive nature, because I taught her, I mean, till now, there's nothing that happens in the school that my daughter will not come home to tell me. My children, all of them, nothing. There was a time the teacher was telling me, you need to also tell her to be talking to the teachers. It's not everything she comes home to tell you. I said, You said what? It's not everything she comes home to tell me? Are you the parents? You're telling me to allow her to talk to the teacher. I'm not saying she should not talk to you. But I am the first point of communication because I can do more than you can do. Yes, if I neglect my part as a parent and I leave it all to you as the teacher, I have failed. I have failed. I'm a failed mother.
Wow.
Now, that was how we're able to overcome. And, that girl is now old. Of course, she was old. But, it made that thing, it avoided that thing. Yes. It was a reason why we now
know that she can talk.
Yes. We became more conscious, and we were monitoring, and we were able to get to the person that was trying to abuse her.
Wow.
And we got hold of the guy, and the guy was ruthlessly dealt with.
Wow.
Ruthlessly dealt with. And the guy also got help. Because it was a child. It was a child. It was just about, it was like 7 years older than her.
What?
So it was also a child that needed help. We're able to help the young boy too, because this one was taught to express herself. So it's very important as parents. I need to sing this thing more. We decided to keep it for this long because my husband and I, we needed to check the girl to see that she wasn't, the effect of that was not telling on her. Yes.
Wow.
Because we needed to keep her sanity also. Because we know the effects of these things on children. But when we checked her, we monitored her, and we saw that she was doing fine. The effects didn't tell on her. The act didn't happen, but at the same time, we needed to check that she wasn't affected, mentally. Now, when we deciphered that and we concluded that she was fine, we decided to start using it to talk to other parents. To allow our children to be expressive. When she was talking about our bum, if we had shown that
Yes.
If you had yelled, if you had told her, keep quiet, what is it? She won't mention it again. And that thing would eventually happen.
Wow. Thank you so
Yes.
much for sharing, Mtish. Thank you so much. And this even speaks to, wow, that was such a deep one. Thank you. And this speaks to what happens to even so many teenagers and adults who, they've been shut down, they've been deprived of freely expressing themselves and all that. And then when issues come, when things that they need to communicate, when there is a need to communicate, because they've been shut down, they've been deprived of that expression, they're not able to tell what is going on, and they're not able to express themselves. And it goes into different phases and different aspects of their lives. Somehow it gets into the workplace, into personal relationships, into school, and just different phases of a person's life. So yes, I agree with you that it's very important to allow children, yes, and even young people to express themselves. And I like the balance that you put to it also, to say that you're not raising rude people, so they know the right way to do so, but you do not totally deprive them of the place of expressing themselves and the ability to express themselves, but they do it in the right way. Thank you so much, Mtish. Thank you for sharing that story in particular. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please feel free to send in your questions and experiences to my DM on Instagram, or as an email to conversationswithcoachit@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share with your friends. See you on the next episode. Bye.